Apparently
Yeah,
Ben Affleck is a professional poker player, and that's what he does mostly for his money right now.
he'd probably be someone who would launder money for the mob.
He probably would be.
He
Yeah.
probably would because he can afford like if he really blows it, he can afford to like cover his ass.
Well, he's doing it. He's got that like shady, douchey element to him too. It's like where it's like you kind of feel like if he hadn't made Goodwill Hunting, like, like he could have just as easily been like a fucking enforcer for like the fucking Irish mafia. It's like I kind of feel like it's like he could have gone either way with that. It's like yeah, I'll go here because it's easier.
He'd have
Like,
been
but
working
like if
at
I had to
Dunkin'.
if I had to break people's knees, I'd have done that too. It's like
I don't know. I thought The Accountant was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
I don't know what that is. I've
Yeah,
never seen it.
it's where he plays an autistic hitman or something.
Are you being serious or wrong? I can't tell.
I'm being serious.
You're being serious. It's a great
Yeah.
movie.
No, it's
I don't
not.
know.
It's not a great movie.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Zarling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican Senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
See, I can't tell you. How am I supposed to know? You're talking about a movie I've never heard of, and people have mixed feelings about Ben Affleck.
You've never
I
heard of The Accountant?
Honey, didn't we talk about this? I don't know anything about any movie. Like I haven't I live in Olympia. Like this is like the black hole of like outside media. Like it's like movies and TV shows, they cannot penetrate the
Yeah.
communist bubble of Olympia. Just like it skids across the invisible layer like a meteorite hitting the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's like it's like they try and advertise here and it just doesn't
It
work
doesn't
because
work.
no one here even watches TV. It's weird. It's like
Everyone's
I don't watch TV. And when I lived in Seattle, like I watched movies and I watched TV, but something about being in Olympia, it's like you just don't do it. Like it's just like it doesn't
everyone's
fly here. I mean,
everyone's at
people
the
watch it.
concerts
People do
every
watch
night.
it, but
Watching Tad open for Mudhoney and just calling it a day. I get it.
oh yeah, that's definitely still going on.
I'd come up and go see Mudhoney. I'd see Tad too. I'm here
Yes,
for
a
it.
lot of people would.
I don't know if a lot of people would. Yeah, people
That's
just
why
don't.
when they play, they make a lot of money.
We don't want to leave 1992. It was so safe in 1992.
I don't know about that. It's a different kind of. It wasn't this bad, but like it was a different kind of bad.
I
The reason
mean,
I didn't come out,
America's
like,
always
you know,
America's always just been a different
America's
kind of
always been a
bad.
piece of shit. Yeah, it's just been a terrible place pretty much forever. And like that's one of those things. Like it's like yeah, I'm leaving. I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna bail on this shithole country. And like the solace that I take in like being forced out by fucking religious Nazis is that like it was a shitty place anyway and I wasn't
Yeah,
enjoying it anyway.
yeah,
It's like I have a hard time believing I'm gonna go anywhere that's worse than here. It's like I have
right.
a hard time imagining. Like I know there's worse places on Earth. Like it's like I definitely don't want to go to Poland, and I definitely don't want to be in Russia. And I'm not
Hungry.
too
You want to
psyched
go to
on.
Hungary,
Yeah,
right?
no, not so
Yeah.
much, not so much. Not Chechnya doesn't look that great, but like I mean Italy even. I wouldn't go to Italy.
Mhm.
But like well, other places they're just fine. It's like yeah. I was like, I think I'd be fine and anywhere pretty much in northern western mainland Europe. Like I wouldn't go to England, but I would go to Scotland or Ireland, maybe even Wales. But like I wouldn't go to London. I wouldn't live in England.
I would go to
Like,
Ireland. Ireland. I really like Ireland. I think
heard
that'd be a
good
nice place.
things. I've
Yeah,
heard a lot of good things about Ireland.
yeah.
Well, they've got an English problem.
That's North Ireland. Regular Ireland doesn't have that problem.
Everyone's got the English
I
problem.
mean, yeah.
So everyone in the world has a problem. Has got an English problem. Everyone in the world, hon. Everyone in the world, love. Okay, I was just looking for an excuse to do my bad British accent.
Oh no. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just move to Ireland and I'll set up like a tour of all the places they shot Game of Thrones crap. And I'd just be like,
Did they do that in Ireland? I thought that was all in New Zealand. Oh no, Game of Thrones was all over the place, and it was
yeah,
Ireland. I'm thinking
yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings says New Zealand.
Lord of the Rings is New Zealand.
Lord of the
But I
Dance
say
is
that was
Ireland.
my Irish. That wasn't New Zealand. That was Irish. I'm getting my my British
Oh, yeah,
spin-offs.
you're a real mess here.
Yeah, it's like what's that? New Zealand. New Zealand. Is that it? The Kiwi?
Not
How's
really.
my New Zealand?
No, no,
Nah,
no.
no good.
You gotta talk
No
more out
good,
of
huh?
you gotta talk real nasally if you're doing that New Zealand thing.
I thought I got it pretty much.
I mean, I'll
I
tell you,
got the
you did
toothbrush fence.
if that's what you want to hear. Sure, you
I
nailed it.
based it off of Murray. Like, that's all I know. Like, I don't know what do you know from New Zealand besides Flight of the Conchords and Tame Impala? Like, it's like that's what I know. Now, I've never heard the Tame Impala guy talk. I've only heard him sing,
Yeah,
so that doesn't count.
it doesn't count at all.
I guess technically, like Unknown Mortal Orchestra is from New Zealand, kind of like, but the guy lives in Portland, so that's. But his brother lives in New Zealand, and his brother's a drummer. It's weird. It's a situation. He's definitely from New Zealand.
Wait, his drummer lives in New Zealand? That must be hell to practice.
Yeah, it's they just like, I mean, his drummer I mean, they're a world class band, so like
Yeah.
it's like they just do everything. Like when they record, he flies them over, and like he flies them over to Portland. There's a studio.
I mean,
Probably Jackpot.
I was really just
Like,
making
yeah,
a joke, but whatever.
like yeah. I mean, they practice independently of each other. I'm sure it was like if they're gonna go on tour, they go on tour or whatever it is. I don't know how that works. Like it's like I'm sure when they decide they're gonna go on tour, they practice for a month beforehand, and then there's like let's go, a couple weeks maybe. I don't know how it
Let's
works
go.
when you're on that level of professional musicians. Like I've never been there, so it's like so I don't know how that works exactly, but I mean it's feasible. Like it's like I think you can you can get a lot of practicing done on your own, and if you're a good enough musician, like you can just show up, kind of turn up, and like you only need a couple sessions to be tight enough to go live. Like and then you tighten up on the road.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. That's going in the podcast.
I mean, that's right there. That's right there. Between that and the poker, we could just
solid
we could
gold.
just
I
we
know,
could just
that's
not
all
do
we
any
got.
we could just not do any questions today. I mean,
Not do any questions or anything funny.
yeah, it's just like, why are we doing questions? We
I
had our
know.
poker
You want to
podcast.
talk about taxes? It's tax time.
No, I don't want to talk about taxes.
taxes.
No, I don't want to talk about taxes.
Well, are you deducting anything this year?
I owe like $3,000 in taxes.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Well, what did you save your receipts?
That's the thing, like when you were a kid and watched anytime you like everyone had receipts, like you don't need your receipts. Like, no, I saved every grocery receipts. Like, you can't deduct your groceries. I'm like, well, then why am I saving receipts? And they're like, yeah, it's for you're not an adult yet. And I'm like, okay.
It's a boomer thing, I'm pretty sure. It's like save your receipts and like and hard work will get you.
Save your receipts and hard work will get you where you want to go.
I gotta get you what you need. Like, yeah, it's a problem with kids today.
No,
I don't have a work ethic.
I just turned everything over to my accountant, and I closed a retirement account like 2 years ago, and like the last bit of that bill was due this year. So that's what that is. But it is what it is. Whatever.
I liquidated all my shit last year. So
yeah,
it was like gone.
Now I gotta move to Canada anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing left here. Like, and
so much
and
for
they're gonna
building
take
a
it
life.
all away
yeah.
anyway. So it's like,
right. Do I need to move everything out of my bank account? Are they going to freeze my bank account if I leave the
Yeah,
country?
you do.
Oh,
Of course you do.
God.
Like, of course you do.
It's kind of
Like,
like,
are you crazy?
well, how am I supposed to move that money then? I don't need to get pulled over by a cop
No,
and like,
you can get an international one. It's like you can get an international bank account. You can get an online bank account. I have an online bank account.
that's what I should do.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely what you should do. How have you not
Yeah.
done that yet?
So I don't need.
Get a crypto, just crypto. Well, look
I'm
at
just
like
gonna.
Bitcoin.
First of all my money is
All
tied
the
up.
poker tables, all the online
Fuck.
poker tables
Listen.
take Bitcoin.
All my money is tied up in my Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. So I assume that that's just gonna
Yeah,
come
well, I
with
mean,
the
I
account.
understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I'm surprised. Like, I can't go to Walmart.
Donald Trump wearing a spacesuit and a
Just-
cowboy hat
just-
NFT.
just
I'm just
pay
waiting
with
for
my-
that to mature.
Just pay with my Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. Get a few Donald Trumps in change.
We talked about Bored Ape before, like this
Oh,
podcast.
yeah. No,
Okay.
it's so ridiculous. It's never going to escape my mind.
Who like started it? You know who like made the Bored Ape drawings?
Wasn't it? It was Seth Green.
Seth Green.
Seth Green. He was wait. We've talked about this because he was going to have a TV show based on his Bored Ape Yacht Club character, and the pitch for the TV show was: imagine your local bar, and the bartender is Bored Ape Yacht Club number 4,375. It's like, what? It's like, yeah. And then Bored Ape Yacht Club turned out to be a fraud. Unbelievably. What? And now they can't, Fox is like, we can't be associated with this kind of fraud. That's the news division you're thinking about. Yeah, this is like the TV side. You're thinking about the news division.
Oh, we need straight shooters like Alex Jones.
Hell, that's the news side. The TV side, the sitcoms, they got credibility. They have integrity.
Oh,
yeah. This Bored Ape Yacht Club doesn't have a TV show. He's an hour-long news and opinion host on Fox News now.
Oh, well, Seth Green can't get arrested in this virtual town.
You'll never sell pictures of bored apes in this town again.
Get out of here! Get out of cyberspace.
What was that award show where Snoop and Eminem did a song, but they did virtual reality? It was their Bored Ape Yacht Club avatars, and it was just like, because they're bored, they're like singing and they're like cartoons, but their faces are just the bored ape face, and it was just like, why would anyone be watching this? This looks dull as shit.
Sounds amazing to me.
It is not amazing.
It's not. It sounds pretty incredible.
It's one of those things where, like, as it's happening, you're like, what reality?
Stewart down
what reality have I ended up in?
Like Neil Peart. Martha Stewart just like smoked a fat fucking joint and just like fucking did a gnarly drum solo.
Check.
Can you hear it yet?
Check.
It's so good. It's like the best thing I've ever seen. It's incredible. What are you talking about? How could you not like that? That's a fucking. That's the prime rib of entertainment. Like, if you took like the Gorillas and like Harold and Kumar and then just like, I don't even know. But you don't need it because it's Snoop.
It's just like, people are like, I'm gonna buy this, and it's like,
oh yeah, they are. Yeah,
like,
they sure are.
I didn't even try to like understand Beanie Babies, and it's just like all this.
Like
here's what I don't understand.
Pros are going to be bumping that jam from their BMW.
Here's what I don't understand is I've been alive for like 50 some years, and this happens every 5-10 years. Something comes on, and everyone's throwing all their money at it, and they're like, "This is the next big thing," and I got a Beanie Baby that's worth this much, and I got an NFT worth this much, and then 5 years later, none of the shit's worth anything, and it's just like whoever got in on the ground floor and capitalized when it became big, and then got out, and all the idiots sitting here with like, I paid $10,000 for a lobster Beanie Baby, or I paid $30,000 for an ape in an army hat. like, do you not pay attention to the world around you? That's how everything works. God damn. God,
Like,
come on.
what did P.T. Barnum say about suckers? Buy my Bored Ape.
Bye bye, Bored Ape NFTs eating a sucker.
Blockchain is the future. It was like, I think the best descriptions like I saw of like because someone's like, what's the fuck is the blockchain? Like someone's response is like imagine if you left your car running and it produced solved Sudokus that you could trade for heroin.
All right. Hey, there you go. There you go. Sign me up for 2. Yeah. And it's like, you don't need a sucker born it's just the same suckers every 5 to 10 years, just not learning the lesson. Yeah. And like some rich guy says, if you buy these things, they're going to go in price. And then everyone buys the thing from the rich guy and it goes up in price because of supply and demand. And then everyone's just got these things that aren't worth anything because no one really wants them. And it's just, here's the thing. What's the next thing? In 5 years, what are we all going to be buying? It'll probably be bottles of water. I mean, by then it'll be like bottles of water are like $2,000 a bottle. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's the time it'll make sense.
Authentic sinner teeth.
Yeah, real life sinner teeth.
Trading heterosexuality certificates.
Certified heterosexual.
Heterosexual.
Yeah. This will get me into heaven.
It'll get you past the checkpoint.
Yeah, maybe. Depends if you're the right kind of heterosexual.
Depends how you look.
Yeah. Welcome to NFT.com. I'm Lilith Electra. That's Amanda Bonanza. It's actually Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz couldn't be here today for the fact that he's an idiot. I don't know. I don't want to say anything too bad about him and end up getting sued by Florida for bad-mouthing someone. He's an idiot, but he's not transphobic or homophobic. He's just an awful human being. So there you go.
Cruz?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I can't say that. I don't want to get sued.
Transphobic.
I don't want to say that. That is your opinions are not the opinions of this podcast.
He just showed up. We'd been talking about how like he wasn't around and he popped up on TV and said one of the dumbest things I've ever heard about anything at all. But like
Candyman, he just showed up when you said his name 3 times.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's fucking Beetlejuice. Ted Cruz. Like Rihanna's performance was satanic.
Hey.
A pregnant woman should be in the kitchen.
Welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. I'm Liz Olling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Ted Cruz isn't going to be here today. We apologize to Miss Brewster, who gave us 1 star and also requested that could she give us less than a star. And I don't understand that. Like, we get it. You gave us 1 star. You don't like us. You know there's not a 0 star. So why would you put that in the comment?
There's 0 stars, and that's not spending your time complaining about someone else's podcast.
You could have given us 0 stars by just not giving us any stars. Yeah. Like, genius.
By instead doing anything else in the world with your time.
How could I give this 0 stars? It's like, just don't give it a star. There you go.
But in her defenses, I think she really doesn't understand that. Like, in that, it's like, can I give it less than 1 star? How do I do 0? How do I?
You don't click any of the stars, and you turn off your laptop, and you go to bed.
I need a man sitting in a pickup truck to tell me how to not do stuff.
I mean, she understands star system as much as she understands trans people, which is why, we're in the situation we're in. Yeah.
She doesn't understand.
She doesn't understand anything.
Mrs. Baxter,
Yeah, Mrs. Baxter.
This is what. Who knows? Maybe she just didn't like our podcast. Maybe she didn't like the way. Maybe it has nothing to do with her. Maybe she's not transphobic. Maybe she just she legitimately was like, she's like a podcast. Like what would be the podcast version of like
a connoisseur
or like of like of an audio file, like you know what I'm talking about.
Like
the
a
people that think you need to
sommelier
break in,
of
that think like speakers and headphones need time to be broken in, like
yeah,
those
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
idiots.
yeah, yeah.
It's like
I mean,
oh
honestly,
yeah,
it could be. She's a trans person who came to us for help and didn't find what she was looking for on our
maybe
podcast.
that's it.
That's fine,
Maybe
but then
she's
you
like,
should
yeah,
say that in the review and be like, "Hey, I'm a trans person. I didn't find this very helpful." Then we could self-reflect and say, "Okay, what can we do that would be more helpful to trans people listening?" But just saying, "Can I give less than a 1-star review?" just makes us think you're a moron who didn't realize you could have just not given us a review, and that would have been your 0-star review.
that's true, but she had to get it out there. And here's the thing: is like, it's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna give her a little something. So this one's
Oh
for
yeah.
you, Mrs. Baxter. Is is how do you give us less than 1 star? Well, you did it because you expressed it, and I think that qualifies. So yeah, you see 1 star on the review,
But anyone
but
reading that's going to be like,
anyone,
"Oh, that's
yeah,
really
but
a
everyone
0-star."
knows, but really that's less than 1 star. So 0. It's like, maybe it is, maybe that's what she meant by less. I
You know
don't
what?
know, because like I don't know how well she understands, like, advanced mathematics, like
I got
decimals,
I got another idea for you. So,
fractions.
like if a rich person dies and they put together their will, they'll give $5,000 to someone, and that's like the minimum that says, "I acknowledged you there. It's a middle finger. You can't sue and say like the will was rigged or something like." So, if you really feel like fuck us, Venmo $5,000 to Ed Zarling, and I'll take that as like, oh wow,
That would
man,
show us. That
that
would
would
show us.
really show
How do
us.
you make a review that's less than 1 star? While you Cash App us.
You Cash App us,
Definitely Cash App.
yeah,
Cash App me.
yeah, and like $5,000 Venmo at Zarling, and I'll just be like, what the hell? Who would do? What kind of fuck you is this $5,000 just in the middle of my Venmo? And then just I'll just give that out to all my trans friends on social media who like need the money for medicine and stuff. Like I'm not going to keep it for myself. Not until I get to
I'm
Canada.
investing it in the blockchain.
You're gonna buy
I'm gonna turn that $5,000 into $5 million.
I'm gonna turn that $5,000 into 5 Bored Apes.
It's like more than $5 million. That's
Yeah,
like, those things are worth a fortune. Like
are-
every Bored Ape is worth like 3 houses in Boca Raton.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, but then you got to live in Boca Raton.
you get to live in Boca Raton.
Oh, yeah. Wait till you get there. You're like, ooh, not what I thought it
You're
was
like,
going to be. At
oh,
all.
this is great. Like all the freedom. I love this freedom.
There's a lot of freedom there.
So much freedom in Boca
It
Raton.
it can be a little
There's
overwhelming.
so much.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to give us a 0-star review, just don't hit any of the stars and close your browser and done. You
But she
give us
hit the
0
star by accident.
Yeah.
In her attempt to give us 0 stars, she hit the
Yeah.
star. She couldn't take away the star. He's
Mm,
like, how do I erase this? I
all
don't
right.
have a. But how
Hold
do
on.
I erase a star?
Hold on. I'm gonna make myself a note. I'm gonna call the king of the internet, and I'm gonna ask him to get rid of Miss Ms. Baxter's, Mrs. Baxter's,
Mrs. Baxter.
Mrs. Baxter's 1 star.
Mrs. Baxter, one star review.
Yeah.
That's
and
my
then
that's my new all you can eat place.
I got a meeting with the Internet King coming up later on this week. I'll bring it up and see
Take
what
it
I
on
can
the
do.
Golden Corral.
Yeah. Oh wow. 0 stars. It's just like it's just one of those things where it's just like, if you don't like our podcast, like chances are it's not here for you. So why, like that'd be like a college professor watching Sesame Street and being like, this is dumb. Who doesn't know what the letter E is? You idiots. And it's like, yeah, it's not for you. If you're not a trans person, this isn't for you. And if it is a trans person, again, if you're a trans person and we didn't help and you hated this podcast, you should tell. No, if
I don't want to say this is exclusive. I don't want to be exclusive. This is for anyone who wants to watch it.
Yeah, for anyone, it's for people who want it. But if it's not for you, there's no point in just coming in and giving us a 0-star review and being like, "This is dumb." It's like, yeah, it's not for you. This wasn't intended for you.
Maybe she could be.
Before you say this, before you say whatever you're about to say, do you really believe what you're about to say?
Of course not. I believe in nothing, Lebowski.
Yeah, it's just like, just move on. Just move along. It's like a 32-year-old
Where's the bun
dude.
in the mouse? Can't believe
It's
it's
just like
nothing.
a 32-year-old guy listening to like girl bop bands like NSYNC and stuff. Me like, this is stupid. This is for little girls. It's like, yeah, it's for little girls. You're a 32-year-old dude. They have Fast and Furious movies for you. Go watch
Yeah, they
those.
do. They
They
have
do.
those.
Yeah, they have
They've got a lot
10
of
of
them.
them. 10 of them. 10 of them. That's 20 hours of your life that you could just lose in the fantasy world.
You could invest. You could invest.
Invest.
Like you think
wow.
like watching 20 hours of Fast and the Furious is like buying is like buying 20 Bored Apes.
It's like watching that's like if you wanted to learn how to drive like as a stunt driver, watching 20 hours of Fast and Furious movies is like a little kid watching 20 hours of Sesame Street, and
That's all you need. You're
yeah,
ready.
knowing what most
That's
of the
all it
letters are
takes.
now.
You get your stunt
Each
driving
episode
license.
each episode is brought to you by a letter. Yeah, you get 20 letters. You know,
You
you're
watch
almost
all
you can
20
spell
hours.
you can spell most things now. Congrats.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. You watch 20 hours of Fast and the Furious, and Dale Earnhardt comes back to life and hands you a certificate
That sounds
of
like a
heterosexuality.
that sounds like a regular show episode.
Dale Earnhardt
Earnhardt!
crawls out of his grave.
Rah.
Hey, Dan made it. Danny made it. Let's go. Got to get to Wichita. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I drive fast.
I'll drive real fast.
I'll drive real fast. I'll be there soon.
DEJ. All right. Yeah, I got some good ones this week for us. You ready?
I love it. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's talk trans stuff. And if you're an ally, you're welcome to stay. But if like you're listening to this, you're like, this doesn't benefit me at all, just turn it off. You
Give
don't have
us
to leave.
1 star and
Yeah,
ask
give
how
us
you
1
can give us
star.
less. The precedent has been set. Mrs. Baxter, this one's for you.
Yeah.
This one's,
All
I'd
right.
just like to give a shout out to Mrs. Baxter. Thank you.
I mean, yeah. That's our first merchandise is gonna be thanks, Ms. Baxter. And it's just gonna
Yep.
be, yeah,
We're gonna make
we-
you famous.
I'm gonna make you famous. It's not her real name. It's probably not even a Ms.
It's a Mrs. It's a
Is it a
Mrs.
Mrs.?
That's a mother.
Wow.
That's a married woman.
Really?
It's Mrs. MRS period. Mrs.
Okay.
Mrs. Baxter. She's proud. She's proud of that ring. She locked that shit down.
Yeah. Wow. We should search online for Mrs. Baxter and see if anyone shows up.
Should. I'm sure
Yeah.
she's got a. I'm sure she's got a very, very prolific web presence.
I mean, just
I'm
search.
gonna-
Just
I want to
search.
find her. I want to go hang out on her website.
Just search the phrase "How can I give this 0 stars, comma Ms. Baxter," and like Mrs. Baxter, and there's just like
lights up like a
all over
Christmas
the
tree.
internet. Like every time there's an LGBTQ podcast or TV show or anything, it's like, how do I give this 0 stars? And it's like,
You better have a pretty
why?
powerful computer but if you do that, like it's
Yeah.
like it's gonna it's all it's have to sit through a lot of data.
It's like,
which is very
how-
prevalent.
why are you wasting so much of your time listening to LGBTQ media if you don't like it? Like, there's stuff for you, Ms. Baxter.
Like I
There's
said, maybe it's
stuff.
not that. Maybe she's really into LGBTQ media. And she just didn't find our podcast up to snuff. Like it's like we didn't do a
But
good
then
enough job.
that kind of person would give you a helpful thing and be like, hey, you guys, we even give the email every episode and be like, hey, if you like what we're doing, let us know. If you don't like what we're doing, let us know and we'll try to be better. Like we asked
her
for
own way, she
constructive.
did let us know. She
but
just didn't
that's
send it to
not
the
constructive.
email.
That's not constructive criticism. That's not
It's
constructive.
not. But we know that there's a lady out there that doesn't like us, and I take some solace in that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's better. And she said like 1 star. Lilith's voice is annoying, and then I would have had to like take a month off from the
Yeah, then you had to
podcast.
have to like
I've been like,
hire a
"Oh."
vocal coach. Like
I
I
had
think
to,
of all
like,
the money she saved us
Go to
by
my
not
therapist.
telling us what the problem was. Like it's like, well, okay, fine. It's like I didn't like the joke because I thought Amanda's dress was stupid. It's like, oh, and I gotta buy all new clothes. Oh,
Oh. All right, I got a good one here. This one's
Okay.
this one's not really a question, but it's like a statement and then like a paragraph explaining, and then at the end, a bit of a question, so bear with me while I go through all this. It says, I keep losing the feeling of being trans. Over the last several months, I've been questioning my gender and eventually came to the conclusion that I am a trans woman. This was something that I was pretty confident in. I even came out to a close group of friends and initially felt really strong imposter syndrome that faded a couple days later. I made a post about this a week ago. Since then, I have constantly gone back and forth between feeling trans and losing that feeling entirely. Over the weekend, I felt a lot of intense gender envy for women I saw when I went out with my friends and couldn't imagine my future being anything but a woman. But over the last 2 days, I feel like I've lost that connection almost entirely. On my way home from work yesterday, I realized I don't feel like a man, but I don't feel the pull to be a woman like I've been feeling for a while. But then, later at night, when I came home, I played a game where I made a female character with the name I've been thinking about using and felt that familiar euphoric feeling in my stomach. Is this normal? Have any of you experienced this? I'm sitting at work feeling like I don't know who I am because I've lost it again. I feel like I want to be a trans woman, but I'm not a trans woman.
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there.
There's
And
a lot going on there.
I would say that that's really, I don't think that's weird. I feel like I've talked to a
No, I
lot of
don't
people like
either.
before they come out and before people make that declaration that you're figuring things out. And so you're going to have that fluctuation. I feel like everyone I've talked to, they had like the secret stash of women clothes and they'd have it hidden and they'd wear it. And then one day they'd be like, fuck this shit. This is stupid. And they'd throw it out. And then for like 5 or 6 months, they wouldn't think about it. And then all of a sudden it hits again. And it's just, you're trying to figure things out. And it doesn't mean you are or aren't a trans woman. It's just like, we talk about this a lot. Like, give yourself a chance to explore and be who you are. And being trans doesn't mean you have to start hormones right away. And it doesn't mean you have to do anything, which is like, just play with who you are and find a comfortable space for yourself. But yeah, I don't think that,
Exactly.
I think that that's less about, that you don't know, and it's more the fact that we live in a place where it's discouraged and you're told to question everything about yourself if you're not a certain way.
I think that last part is exactly right. And I think like here's the thing about like gender and the gender spectrum and the binary is not really real. It's like there are it's because it is a spectrum, but like I have never met anyone that I think qualifies to be on the far end of either like 100% male or 100% female. Like we're all human beings and we're all born female or we're all conceived female or however it works. I'm not a biologist, but we start out female and then something happens in gestation somewhere and then that changes, for half the people. And so that's just that physical end of it. For trans people that gets fucked up. But anyway, in any case, the thing is it's like everyone's on the spectrum, and there's some people that are very binary, like myself. I'm very binary towards the femme side. I don't really have many masculine characteristics, and I don't much like the feeling of masculinity, and I didn't have a good time trying to keep up appearances doing it. So for me, I'm very binary towards the femme side, but for a lot of people, a lot of my friends and are much more in the middle of that spectrum where they're neither or they're both or they go back and forth. And so there is a term for someone that on some days feels like a woman and some days feels like a man, and I think that's called, if I'm right, it's just called genderqueer. I think there is a term for it, but it's just a term. The thing is it's however you feel and however you're doing, it's okay. And that's, I guess, really the thing is like Lilith said, you need to experiment, you need to play, you need to find what suits you, and maybe you are going to go back and forth, and maybe you're going to have some days where you do feel more masculine and you feel comfortable at it. But in my experience, and Lilith, see, because you said something about this, but see if you can kind of agree with me a little bit. Being as femme as I am, pre-coming out, before I came out, before I fully admitted it to the world and even myself, in order to survive and keep keep going from the day to day, I convinced myself that like it was okay. Like I was okay with being a man.
Mhm.
Like and so like I would have those days where the pull to feel feminine was very strong, but most days I suppressed it. It was like, okay, I can just do this. But like the reality was is that was just because I was afraid to come out
Oh yeah.
and it was all just denial. It's the stage of denial. Like it could, and it's very powerful and it
Yeah.
carries a lot of weight. And question asker, you might find that like if you let go and you embrace it, which it sounds like you even already have to a degree, like like that as you continue down that path, it might get easier and easier. And the other thing is well, I'll let you speak to it
Yeah.
because I want to talk about the imposter syndrome part. But like, yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that it's one of those things that as you talk to more trans people, you find that this thing that you think is just you is something that a lot of people went through. And so
hmm
a lot of trans people go through this thing where they embrace it and for whatever reason they stop them, and that could be, you know, you know, feeling shame because they think that they've been taught that's not how you're supposed to be, or they feel like, that they're going to get caught, or they feel like it will never happen, so they just want to get that out of their lives. So I think that cycle is something that you would find a lot of trans people go through, and that you're not really that far out of it. It's just something we don't talk about, and that's one thing. Like I said, I hope we talk about this more on the podcast. These things that people think make them different or make them quote unquote weird, and they don't want to talk about it because they think they're the only one, and you're not the only one. And we, for the most part, not
not at all.
everyone, but a lot of people go through these things as well. And then, I'll let you speak like in depth about imposter syndrome. My one thing with that is always, you know, for me, it was about losing that idea that I'm trying to become exactly a woman, and it's more about I am going to be myself. And I'm like, kind of
That's
like
it right
Amanda. I
there.
think like I'm also very very far on the fem scale, but we saw in previous episodes I throw on that backwards hat, and Tomboy Lilith is
Wow.
working it. So I would say imposter syndrome. I mean, you talk to people, any job has someone doing imposter syndrome.
Every
Someone
job.
they get their first job out of college and they're like, now you're a reporter, and you're just like, no, I'm feeling imposter. I'm not a real reporter. Or oh, now you're a game developer. It's like, yeah, but my game has never been picked up. I'm not really a game developer. Everyone everywhere feels imposter syndrome about
All the
something.
time.
It's just that we're the only people that get attacked on a national platform about it.
Right. Well, that I wouldn't say the only people, but definitely the
Right? But
primary
yeah.
target. But the thing about it is like for trans people, because there's so much negative societal reactions to our existence, especially in the United States and especially right now. Like and it's even like polarized because there's a lot of negative, but there's a lot of positive at the same time. But like it's because of that, it makes it really extra scary and extra difficult to even admit it to yourself because like you see what the ramifications are. Like when you're in your egg and you're gazing out through the window or whatever, the window of the egg, that all eggs have windows. Like when you're gazing out into the outside world, through your shell or whatever, and like you're looking and you hear all that rhetoric, you see how trans people are treated, you see how like they get, it's harder for them to get jobs, it's harder for them, it's like they get treated poorly, like it's like they have a harder time, like they get killed, they get beat up, like they get raped, like it's like that's when you see all that stuff and you ingest it, and being closeted and having those feelings yourself, you do notice that you are hypersensitive to that stuff, and that stuff comes inside, and you see that, and you're like, well, fuck, I don't want to invite that into my life, so maybe I'm not trans, because you don't want to be, because like you don't want to deal with the burden of it, like, and but the other part about it is like, well, if you're even really having that thoughts, and if you've gone so far as to come out and tell some people and kind of dip your toe into it, like that's kind of like the first step, and like it, and it's okay like either way, like, you know, but you also don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know, if you don't feel like you're trans one day and you do the next and it goes back and forth, well, that's okay too. Like, who do you need to be trans to? It's like, it's not a thing that needs certification, and it's not like thing you earn, or it's
Yeah.
just it's just a simple state of being, like, and it's nothing you choose. And so it either, you know, like, it just depends. Like, it sounds to me like there's a lot of like a lot of just like you've taken the leap and you've tried, but like you're just doubtful, and that's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
That's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
That's how
And,
it goes.
once you transition, like, you know, nothing, it's not like obviously we talked about Mega, but it's not like every day is a party. Eventually you just go to work every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and
and that's the weird part, is eventually it gets normal.
yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just some stupid girl with some stupid job, whatever.
But then you have those days where you're just like sitting around like on your day off, and you're like just playing on your phone, like you're not fucking doing anything, you're just sitting
Yeah.
around, and you're just kind of looking, you're like, holy shit, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh fuck, like
Like
fuck, I forgot.
you're
And then you
sitting
look in the
there
mirror
and
and you're like, feel your tits, and you're just like,
yeah,
holy shit, this is incredible. This is amazing.
you're sitting on the couch watching TV, and the cat hops up on you and like crosses his paws between your boobs and then just puts his head down. You're just like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Life
Cat on boob equal
is
good.
better. Oh my god, it's so good. The cat loves my boobs.
Cat on boob, good feeling.
Yeah. Underrated when you talk about trans
Oh,
things.
it's so
Cats on your
good.
boob.
Oh,
Cats on
the
your boobs is
snuggle
so
when
good.
they
Yeah.
snuggle into your tit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Oh,
you
okay.
love me. I love you too.
But yeah, that all that stuff is like you're figuring yourself out, and why you feel like you lose that feeling or not. It could be that, like I said, you're gender fluid, or you're just gender non-conforming, and you'll dress how you want to dress and you'll present how you want to present. It could be that you're holding yourself back because of fear. I mean, honestly, it's amazing to me how many people I hear are still like, hey, I've decided to come out. I've decided to start my transition. I'm starting hormones today. And it's like March of 2023, and people live in America and they're like, fuck it, I am going to start hormones. And I'm like, fucking good for you. Like, to stand up in the middle of all we're going through and just give a big middle finger to it is great, and if you also like want to take your time and make sure you do it right, that's also fine. That's perfectly
Yeah,
natural
there's
to
no wrong
figure it
way to
out.
do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's healthier to take your time with it. It's not a fast thing. There's
Yeah.
nothing fast about it, and there's also nothing small about it. It has large ramifications, like the biggest I've ever seen for anything. So it is no small endeavor, and it isn't something that you should jump into if you're unsure about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like you there's plenty of room to move before you make like some ultimate commitment, like getting surgery. It's like, or anything like that. Like, but even studying HRT and going on HRT, even that isn't permanent. Like, and like, that's an easy thing to just, if you don't like it, you can just stop.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And there are people that detransition, and most of them don't do it because they want to. They do it out of pressure, but there's a very small handful of people that do, and they were like, I made a mistake, that wasn't for me, and then they go back to the other thing, and then that's just a little quirky part of their past, and it's like, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that either. Like, like, it's everything's just okay. It's just fine. It's like the key is just, it is confusing. But the main reason it's so confusing is because of all the loud noise about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's like, that's the part that's confusing, because it's like if you were just allowed to just do whatever you want and express yourself the way you felt without
Yeah.
the scrutiny of society, and especially the MAGA Nazi society of aspect of America.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a lot easier for everybody, including those people that are just they would be fine if they just
Oh, if they could
got
just go
over
to
themselves. Like
if they could
they could
just
just
go
like
to a
not be
therapist,
horrible. Like,
if they
yeah,
could just go to a therapist or a doctor and talk about how they feel, like, oh my God, this country would be so much better if we all just had time for our therapist every week or every other week
yeah, could
or,
afford it.
whatever you want. Yeah. And man, if you could just talk stuff out and like really talk about your feelings instead of like going to a MAGA rally and giving fingers to the press and like a
Uh,
shirt that says
your
Trump
two
that
minutes
bitch, you know?
doing your 2 minutes hate. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you know, whatever. Unfortunately, we don't live in that country, so
we don't,
move at
definitely
your
not.
pace, move at a pace that feels safe for you physically and emotionally and mentally. And if that time never comes, it can always be like I said. Being trans doesn't mean that you take hormones and you have surgery, and it it's a spectrum. You can't say gender's a spectrum and then say if you're trans you're either one or the other. It's like you find yourself on that spectrum and you find the space that you're comfortable in. You exist in that space, and the problem isn't you. The problem is we live in a country where we don't want to give people that space. You're either June Cleaver or you're Andrew Tate, and those are the only options for gender.
Jesus fuck that fucking
I mean,
goofball.
am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No,
No,
not
I'm
not
not.
not in this shithole country.
That's exactly it. You're either
Yeah,
at home in pearls, vacuuming and making dinner for your husband, or you're whatever the
washing his
fuck
feet,
whatever
or you're
Andrew
a
Tate
rapist
does.
child
Yeah,
slaver
yeah.
in a Romanian prison. I got arrested for being an idiot.
Just as Jesus intended, I guess. I don't know where where they get up with any of
Oh,
these
he's
ideas.
ready. He's ready. Have you read his poetry?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, it's pretty fucking funny. It's so wild that like I'm not sure it's real. Like it's usually Twitter stuff, and like I'm not sure that they're giving him a phone in the Romanian prison he's in. B,
Probably
it's
not.
like I feel like it's the Ben Shapiro thing where like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just a bunch of people saying they were Ben Shapiro
Sure.
talking about how they want like AOC to like step on his balls and shit. Like, and like I don't know like if it's real or not. I'm leaning towards it's not. The same thing with there's the one, what is it, Nick Alpha Male Nick Smith or whatever. What's his
The guy
name?
who
You know
puts
what?
the guy who puts alpha male in his Twitter handle and then posts
Yeah, the
stuff like
guy
an
like
alpha
Nick
male doesn't have
Adams.
to say he's an alpha male. It's like, but you
But
just
he's always at Hooters, like
yeah.
100%. He's always like, me and my son went to Hooters and
He's
we're
just
American.
He's just a
And
guy in a
we,
sad relationship who wants to go to Hooters more often. It's like, that's what we
my
want.
son
If
and
you
I
want to
went to
go to
Hooters.
Hooters, we want you to be able to go to Hooters instead of being mad at me about the fact that you can't go to Hooters because your wife won't let you or whatever the reason is you can't go to Hooters. If people want to go to Hooters, fucking go to Hooters. If people want to go to a drag show, let them go to a drag show. If people want to go to a revival in Kentucky for 2 weeks because they're unemployed and they want to pray to God, let them do that. Just don't make laws restricting anyone that. I'm not proposing laws that you can't go to Hooters. Go to fucking Hooters, man. You want to pay for overpriced shitty wings to look at a girl in a t-shirt when you can just look at naked
Just like
people
God
anytime,
intended,
anywhere?
just
Like,
like
just go
Jesus.
do it. Just go do it. You're not harming anyone else. God. God, these guys are so obsessed with
God is right.
Hooters. They're
God is at
so
Hooters.
obsessed
That's
with
where God
Hooters.
lives. That's
It's
God's
just like,
house.
it's just girls in t-shirts. Like,
Sure is.
sure
It's
is.
girls in t-shirts and alpha male Nick Adams.
Alpha male Nick Adams. Because real alpha males, they have to go to a restaurant to see girls in t-shirts. They would never
I eat wings
voluntarily
off my Bible.
dip it in that blue cheese. King
It's
James
like,
version.
that's why like it's like like take it's like you just dip it, wiping the sauce off his face with a King James Bible, which is the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like a hardcover. I got this Bible from my daddy.
He just rips out pages of the unimportant books of the Bible. It's like,
Yeah, the parts where Jesus talks about helping the
loving your
poor and
neighbor
like
and stuff.
loving, yeah.
Yeah. Nah,
Like the
fuck
whole
it.
New Testament that they love and hate at the same time.
It goes.
Like they love the phrase they love the phrase Christianity, but they just fucking hate everything in it. Like it's just
the perfect
wild.
American Bible goes right from the Old Testament to Revelations.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. Yeah, like the whole like Sermon on the Mount didn't happen. That never happened.
No.
Like yeah, no.
Man,
water all over myself.
I don't know, but that's the thing. Is just like if you were just fighting.
I'm ready for Hooters. I
yeah,
can't
right.
job.
Wet T-shirt contest.
My shirt's wet.
It's just like, yeah. Honestly, if you ask what trans people are fighting for, it's like, yeah, I want to live in a world where you can go to Hooters without shame. I mean, except for the shame that you paid that much for bad chicken wings, when you probably could make really good chicken wings at home if you put in a modicum of effort.
It's not really that hard. I got a great recipe.
Yeah, I made French onion soup from
chicken
scratch
wings
this
last
weekend.
night. They're great in an air fryer.
I made biscuits for breakfast, buttermilk biscuits from scratch, and then I made French onion soup from scratch for dinner.
That's delightful.
And this alpha male is out here eating at fucking Hooters.
Which is as his God-given right.
It is his God-given right, but I mean, it's also stupid to pay that much for chicken wings.
Well, I don't think alpha male Nick Adams is very stupid. I think he's got it all figured out. He is an alpha male after all.
I mean, he is an alpha male. We don't even get into the fact,
real?
Like,
that's the question. Is he real, or is he like a lefty troll? It's like I don't know which one it is. I really can't tell.
That's good satire when you're satirizing something so ridiculous that you can't tell.
That's what I'm saying.
I know
it's
that's
like
what
it's
you're
in
saying.
that uncanny valley with that guy. It's like I'm not sure if he is a real person or if he's just a stock image of that guy, and he's really just like a fucking anarchist from Portland. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
Hey, look what I did. I have a picture of me and my kid at Hooters.
He's just like fucking smoking weed and DMT and just like
it's gonna blow this shit
this dude's fucking wild.
Oh man. Shit is wild.
Hooters. I mean, like that's the thing is like it's like Andy Kaufman like is nothing compared to this shit.
But that's the thing. If Nick Adams that kind of satire though isn't helping anyone out. It's just it's finding the people who agree. It's giving a megaphone to the people who agree with that shit, which is dangerous. And honestly, so many people on the left are just
definitely
reactionary anger. Like they'll talk about that tweet for like a week and a half, and it's like, meanwhile, you haven't done anything about stopping anything in this country, but you wrote 4 articles in Jezebel about this guy's tweet about Hooters, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Stop giving it air and like go out and make real change.
Yeah.
Go out and do something that makes a difference.
Honey, usually I'm the angry one.
I mean,
I think what what would make you feel better? I think a nice plate of hot wings and titties.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say some To Me Focus.
I'm gonna hop in my private jet, like Andrew Tate, and I'm gonna smoke a big fat fucking cigar, say something racist, and fly over there and take you to Hooters, babe.
You know what else? I'm gonna take 2 True-Me. I'm gonna take 2 Centrum for women. First of all, the fact that I'm taking vitamins for women is pissing off some right winger somewhere, so I like that. That's a good mixture of flavor. These are mixed berry, and the True-Me's orange, and so let's it's like mixing Tang with Kool-Aid, and I'm not gonna be able to talk for about 20 seconds while I eat all these gummies, but I'm gonna be focused. I'm gonna be full of vitamins.
Focus. Well, you got your mouth full of True-Me and Centrum Silver. I can tell you about speaking of that combination of flavors, that's what I used to like. We used to, when I was in high school, we used to make screwdrivers with vodka and orange Mad Dogs.
Nice. That's disgusting. That's really disgusting.
I just fucking chew tobacco. It was the worst. It was such a fucking terrible experience.
That's a true. That's like a true Wisconsin kid, though.
It was the most Wisconsin thing. I was very much in like a sophomore in high school.
Oh,
Maybe a junior. Like, yeah, in Milwaukee, like on some fucking trip for like band or fucking baseball or something.
when I was a kid, when I was in high school, it's when the 16-ounce plastic bottles of Coke became popular. It used to be glass bottles or aluminum
Yeah,
cans.
yeah.
And so we would buy one, drink half of it, fill the rest of the half with wild turkey from my dad's bar, and then have it in our locker at school. I shared a locker with my best friend, and we'd drink whiskey and Coke between classes at our locker. And one time a teacher came in and was like, "Oh, Coke, that's a good idea on a hot day like this." So we were just like, "Yeah, it is, buddy."
We used to take those little the soda bottles that you speak of, and then we would drink them all, and then we would get a pen and we would fashion a bong out of it.
Hmm.
That's what we used
I'm
to
not
do.
not a weed girl, sorry.
We were weed people, and
Yeah,
but you went to high school in the late 80s,
yeah,
which is different than the early 90s, which is
yeah.
when I went to high school, and it was an entirely different scenario because like, yeah, like we drank too, but like really drinking was not very in vogue when I was a
Hmm.
teenager. Like we did do it, like, but like it wasn't like we were way more on like just smoking weed and dropping acid. Like everyone was dropping acid all the fucking time, like all the
I
skaters and all
I
the
am
other fuckers.
so I so
Yeah.
wish I'm like I wish I could have done that, but I also think I'm probably better off not having taken acid until I was older
Yeah. I'm
because
not saying everyone should or that
I
I'm
just
better
feel
for
like
it. It's
no,
just
but
was my experience.
I just enjoy it so much. But I feel like right now when I take it, I get so much of a creative experience out of it that I'm glad I didn't just like take it because I was like 18 and we're like we got
A lot of
acid.
people did that.
Yeah,
I didn't I ate a lot of acid, but I
yeah.
wasn't like not compared to like the people I was around. Like by today's standards, like I took so much fucking acid. So I mean, it's like every other weekend or every weekend,
Yeah.
like kind of like, but like I knew people that were dropping fucking 10 strips like every fucking day. And
Oh,
like, and I know it was crazy. It was like, I was like, whoa,
crazy.
okay, that's a lot of LSD, my
I don't need
friend.
all
And
of
like,
that.
I had people that didn't come back from it, like they lost their shit. And it's like, yeah, well, you kind of Sid Barretted yourself.
You kinda did it to
Yeah.
yourself there.
Yeah. I was like, oh, because that's like, I mean, yeah, but it was funny. Like, it was fun. Like, I mean, acid was a lot of fun in my teenage years, and like,
Yeah.
and it did like, like you talk about the creative aspect. Well, that's how I like kind of got into music and like became a musician. A lot. I mean, a lot of it was that. So it's just like, cause music sounds fucking amazing on
Yeah.
LSD. And in the early 90s, a lot of that music was really designed specifically for that. So like it was like there's a lot of good early 90s psychedelia out there if
Yeah.
you're
If
into
you see if you've seen any of the
psych
shows,
rock.
any of the
Yeah.
comedy shows I produced or any of my one person shows, like that was a good deal of acid was like the seed planted for most of that stuff. Just
Mhm.
in my room by myself talking out loud.
Yeah, there's
And
that
then
too.
like
I
and
see
then like
now.
as I'm coming down, like scribbling everything into a notebook and be like, oh yeah,
That's what I did on
oh
ecstasy a
yeah,
lot. Ecstasy
yeah,
was a real wellspring. The come down from Molly and X like was
yeah,
really a real wellspring for me. I got a lot of writing done, a lot of poetry, a lot of like songs written
yeah.
on the X come down. Because it's like it gives you this really like just really introspective melancholy that you get like when you get that like the after the peak of all that whatever it is the dopamine or whatever it is where you're just like living in bliss for like 3 hours and then like you're just like and like but there's the inherent intertwining of like somewhat of melancholy and beauty and like and it's just like you're still high but you're definitely on the downswing and you're definitely like you just you're looking at that sunset and you're like a living Hallmark card.
There's also something to be said
Like,
just like sitting outside on like a cool day, high on like a little acid or something, and then just like drinking tea with your friends and being like, yeah, yeah,
mhm.
this is what I should be
Yeah.
doing. Why am I doing a podcast with Ted Cruz and he never shows up when we could just be out on the front porch, high on acid, drinking tea and having a good time?
Who knows?
Man, I think
These aren't the times for that, really. Right now, not so much. I mean, I don't know. It's like, and that's the other thing. Even if you take the world at large and our current societal situation out of the picture, like it's like, I don't know. I got tired. I did so much acid that I did get to a point where like it wasn't fun anymore. And it's like, and that's kind of where like I was just like, all right. Like I remember the last time I ever dropped acid, and it was just like all the magic had gone. It was just like I was just
aw.
like it was only this. It was like, yeah, I know this. Like I know this. Like because one of the things that was so fun about acid for the longest time was that it was so fucking wild and so fucking unpredictable and so bizarre. But like after once you're used to it, it's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is just being on acid.
I've
It's like
never gone that far. And that's why I'm glad I didn't do it
it took me
till I was
years.
older. Because I was older
It
and I was
took me
like,
10
ooh,
years to get to 15 to get
this
there.
is something
Yeah.
powerful that I could use when I need to use it. And it wasn't like, yeah,
Right.
you get it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. Like you just explore who you're gonna
you're great.
be. Yeah, man. Trumi got me focused.
It did. It just got you right on track.
Got me right on track. I got one more question for us this afternoon. You ready for
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This is a short one, but maybe it might be an interesting conversation. Do you celebrate the anniversary of your transition? Either, day your egg cracked, starting hormones, first time you do you remember like the first time you saw yourself and you were like, tell me.
So the day I started HRT, depending, because that's the thing is like, when do you start? I do celebrate that day. That is December 19th, my second birthday. But here's the problem with it is it's the week before the
Christmas.
holiday season.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, every year that I've gotten to that point, I think except for the first year, but the 3 years, it's like the world also has been a shitty place. And it's also been the middle of winter or the beginning of winter in the Northwest, which is not a great time like for good moods. Like, and so like I've always kind of for the last 3 years have found myself on that day being excited on the days leading up to it, being excited for it. Then that day got there and I was just like, had a shitty day. And like, and it just wasn't very fun. So like, I do kind of celebrate the idea of it and I never will forget it. Like, but like, as far as that goes, like, yeah, I'm proud of it. Like, and I tried to even like, I was like trying to like write a little thing and like post a little thing every year. And I just didn't do it this last year. It's just like, and like the year before it was actually really hard. Like I was like, oh, I can't like, and it just got like, and it was like, they started getting like bummed out, like when they should have been celebratory, but they just didn't end up being that. So like, I mean, I don't know what you mean by celebrating. So no, I don't celebrate it in the sense that like I haven't felt very celebratory, but like but I do celebrate the concept of it.
Yeah. I think some people maybe use it to replace their birthday. I don't know.
I think so. Definitely people do that.
Yeah. My first time I took HRT was April 4th, 2018. And it was nice because I had a show that night at a college, and it was for Pride Week. And it was me and two other trans ladies. And so we drove the 3 hours from Richmond to Blacksburg. It was at Virginia Tech. And we did this show, and I took my estrogen on stage for the first time. I just popped it in my mouth on stage, and it was great. And so I remember that. What's helped me, and maybe think about this, you, Amanda, but listeners, like I used to have a thing where like I always had a problem with dates and times. And then once I started hormones and like really came out like that, those things became more solid in my life. Like you would tell me like, when did you, obviously remember the big ones. Like I never forgot my own birthday. I never forgot, stuff like that. But I like dates, like when did you start working at this place, or how long have you been working at this place? And I'm like, I don't know how long I've been here. Like it's 5-6 years. I couldn't tell you exactly when. And then since I've started hormones, it's just like, and I think, I don't know if this is me just because I'm enjoying my life more and I'm keeping track of these things, or that, Facebook, like every year you get like the pictures from that year. It's like, oh yeah, it's been that. But like, I remember like for sure April 4th. Um, for sure remember, I just got through a thing, and I remember it, but obviously Facebook reminds me that it was just like a few years ago. That was like when I went to Ireland. I remember, remembering more things like that. I celebrate this. I don't really celebrate it like I don't have a party for myself. It's mostly just for me, but like you talked about on Facebook, I'll usually put on LinkedIn or whatever I use, whatever I feel like using, I will put an essay up about my transition and where I am in my life and how far I've come. And I think I just think, we've talked about this before too. Like, I think it's important if you're out and you're trans, and it's important to be visible and let people see about your journey. And not everyone's at the same place I'm at, and some people are ahead of me and some people are behind me, and they just, people who aren't where they want to be just need to hear that they can do it, and that they're doing the right thing. And so I like to do that.
For sure.
But yeah, I celebrate. Yeah, celebrate's a weird thing. I recognize it, I acknowledge it, but I've never made it like my second birthday, and I haven't like stopped celebrating my birthday and be like, no, my real birthday's April 4th. But I do remember it, and keep track of how long I've been. It's weird. It'll be coming up on 5 years, which is kind of crazy.
Happy second birthday.
Happy second birthday.
Happy second. What about second birthday?
Yeah, second birthday. But
I'm thinking now is about second birthday.
I don't remember things like I don't remember like to the date, like the first time I like looked in the mirror and thought like, there I am. But I do remember like the first week I started taking hormones. Like, I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I think my face is already changing. Just like,
yeah, because you wanted to.
I think everyone does. It's like, well, yeah, I know it definitely is.
I don't remember the first time I noticed something different either. But I mean but I was definitely doing that. And that's the thing. Because it did happen, but I don't know. I can't pinpoint when that was, but like, I definitely noticed differences within 6 weeks, but like, it's so hard to pinpoint because
I think most of the stuff I noticed though wasn't like looking in the mirror. It's like touching your hands and be like, holy shit, my skin is like way softer, or like your face.
Yeah, noticing that your armpits don't stink anymore.
Yeah, you don't stink anymore.
Like,
hey. You like go for a run and you hop in the shower, and before you wash off, you notice that your junk smells like pussy now, and you're just like, yeah.
That took a year. No,
but
6 months.
But I remember stuff like that. But like how smooth my skin is, especially on my face. It's like very soft. Hands as well.
Oh, yeah, I noticed the smoother skin.
Yeah, well, I don't remember like that to the day though.
Yeah, I don't either, because that's the thing, is it's different. It happens in different stages.
And I still don't think I look that much different from before transition, like face wise. But I'm sure like
so wild.
If we looked at pictures, well, I think the thing is
different.
I think the thing is that you're looking at, I'm looking at my dumb face in the mirror every day. So like, it's such a gradual change. But
I mean, you look different than the picture that's your still on Zoom. Like, you look radically different than that. And that's
that
when
was
you
just
were
last summer.
I know. That's my point. Like, it's like you look way different. That's what I'm saying, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
No, like, that's right there. That's the dysphoria talking, because see, even Lilith, who's 5 years in, like, still has that imposter syndrome, kind of like that, like that sort of thing. Like, and it's like me, it's like I get that too. But like, I mean, I know I am very fully aware of how much different I look. And I just did like I don't usually post the glow ups and stuff on the things, but I did do it for someone because they asked.
Yeah.
And like, even me seeing those two things back, like, adjacent to each other, was like a picture I took like a couple weeks ago, and then like a picture from like a couple of years before, like about 5 or 6 years before I transitioned. And it was just like, I was like, holy fuck, that's different. Like, I look so different, like,
Yeah.
and like, and it is one of those things where it's like, well, of course I do. I've been on fucking hormones for like 4 years. I goddamn well better.
Yeah.
But the other thing is it's just like, it's like, I think like, it's just like you're also aging. Like it's
Yeah.
like is the thing is like it's not just the hormones. It's
Yeah.
also it's also my attitude, and it's also like, like all, and I wear makeup on the regular, and it's so
Yeah.
it's like of course I look different because I intentionally do, and like, I grew my hair out, like it's like I'm wearing different clothes, but like, but I also have a, pretty decent sized pair of tits.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't have the goat. I
a
don't have the
pretty good body,
I don't
and
have the
like,
goatee
it's like,
anymore to hide
right,
my chin situation
exactly.
here. I love having Zoom meetings at work, like, because I'm talking about, like, a lot of times I end up talking about my life, and I'm like, at 52, and they're like, wait, you're 52, and I'm like, yeah, and they go, I thought you were like 33 or 34, and I'm like, yeah, you did, and I'm like, okay, there's that
Oh,
estrogen at work. It's like a preserving
it
thing. So
does. It
yeah,
works. It's so good. Like,
but yeah,
yeah, it does.
I feel like, I here's another thing I did. So, like, every week, every Tuesday, I started on Tuesday. I took a picture the first day I took my medication. Then every Tuesday I took a picture. And I did that for like 6 weeks. And then it became a month, and then it stopped. And I see people who like have like every day for 4 years, I took the exact same photo, and you're like, fuck, I should have done something like that, because you can just see everything change. But also,
Yeah, I used to watch those
if I
pre-transition all the
really,
time,
really
those
want to
YouTube
do that,
videos. Yeah.
if I really, really want to do that, I would have just done it. Plus a bit of
Yeah.
weird
Well,
when
I mean,
yeah.
it's hard for me to do, and it's hard for me to take my medication regularly, and like as much as like I rely on it and like I worship it, like
Yeah.
it's hard for me to do it. It's like I'm so bad at doing anything habitually. I'm not wired to be a habitual person. Like it doesn't work for me. It's
Yeah.
like why I have a hard time with like regular jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like routines. They don't suit me. Like I like changing it up and mixing it up, and I get bored. I get very bored with the routines and ruts. Like
Yeah.
they're not good for me.
Yeah.
And like, and so, but we live in a routine-based society and all that. But like, so I could never do anything.
Yeah.
That's why I can't exercise properly. It's like I can't do something every day at the same time. I can't get up at the same time. I can't go to bed at the same time. Like I can't eat dinner at the same time every day. And there's people
Okay.
like that I just do operate on a fucking schedule, like the goddamn military, and just like I eat dinner at 6:32 p.m. and like every day, and I eat the same thing. It's like,
Okay.
I mean,
But
I don't know. I
when
don't
it
know what I'm
comes,
talking
but
about.
we're talking about marking your transition. I go, just reel it back.
I got off the fucking rails.
I would say,
I mean,
like,
so yes and
you're,
no, I guess. Yeah.
but yes and no. I'd say, don't feel like that you have to, or that you owe anything. It's like you're changing your life, and you're gonna find what's comfortable to you, and you don't. There's no trans police that says you have to celebrate the day you came out to everyone, or the day that
Kind
you
of do
started
though.
your hormones. You kind of do. Okay.
You kind of do. Like it's a big deal, and like, and you are going to be really proud of it
You will
because
be
it is
proud
a
of it.
huge thing. Because it's a huge, gigantic leap of faith that you take, and it takes
Yeah.
a lot of strength and courage to do it. And like, and you should be proud of
Yeah.
yourself. Like
But
it's like
depending on what you mean by celebrate, like what degree of celebration,
that's where,
like,
yeah, that's
yes,
where it gets like,
acknowledge and feel happy about it. Yeah, making your friends throw you a second birthday, that's up to you.
right. Well, I have a friend that like insists on it, like, and she like demands that, like, she cares way more about it than I do, and she's
Does
always like
she
calling me
insist
up
on
and gives me
presents
stuff.
too?
Yeah, she gives me
Now, fuck,
stuff.
no, you can't ask me for presents for 2 birthdays a year. Get out of here. Pick a birthday, and I'll
Well,
get you
I didn't
presents for
ask
that.
anybody for anything. I don't do any
I didn't say
birthdays.
yours.
I grew up
Yeah,
Jehovah's Witness. I don't give anyone presents for anything. Like, there's nothing.
Are
You get
presents a
nothing
sin?
from
Are
me.
presents a sin?
No, I got so desensitized to it growing up because I never had it. Like it was just
Yeah.
never there.
Yeah.
And like, so when it's not a thing for the first 13 years of your life and you never got a present or gave a present,
Yeah.
like it's like you don't just get into that habit in your late teens. Like, what do you it's like, oh, I think I'll start doing this stuff that I've never done my whole life. Like, no, it's just not how it works. Like, and so like, yeah, but I mean, but it is a big deal and it is a big day. And so depending on like Lil said, depending on what you mean by celebrate, like, do I have a party? No. Do I know when that day is? Damn right I do.
Yeah.
Am I proud of myself? Hell yeah, I am. Do I say something? Do I talk to people? Like, yeah, I do. Like, and
Yeah.
so like, yeah, I acknowledge it? You better believe it. It's a big
I also,
deal.
but I also know the day my divorce went final and acknowledge and celebrate that as well. So
Yeah. You take a trip to Smart and Final?
I go to Hooters.
Oh, goddamn right you do.
Yeah, and I got no one stopping me from going to Hooters.
Yep, just hanging out with alpha male Nick Adams and bring your like it's like clinking your Bibles.
Yeah, clinking our Bibles. A toast to Hooters. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Freedom.
I think yeah, you're gonna celebrate all that, but honestly, you're gonna have so much magic in your life from now on that picking out those one days that was magical is gonna be difficult. Like I feel like there are so many things that happen in my life that I'm just better at remembering them, but I think, like I said, that might be Facebook helping me along with their
I think what
yearly.
it is for me, because for memory and like time association, like I
Yeah,
can tell you that I can remember, I could tell you what I was doing on any given month in the 1990s.
yeah,
And but you take the aughts up until like basically I moved from the entire decade of the aughts. So I couldn't tell you the difference between like 2003 or 2008. I don't know it was all just a big blur. But then the teens got a lot more clear and then post
yeah,
transition for sure. Like, but part of that is I don't drink
yeah,
really. And that's a huge part because I was just guzzling
yeah,
from basically from like the year 2000 to like 2000 till I basically till I came
yeah,
out really. So from 2000 to like 2020, like for
yeah.
20 straight
I
years, just
mean,
like or 2019, just guzzling
I
liquor.
think
Like,
yeah, I think
yeah.
something that's helped my memory and my focus is Trumi Focus with Lion's Mane. Trumi, the company that said, "You're not for us."
They did.
They did. Fucking assholes.
You are in a mood. Girl, you're feisty.
I mean, whatever, like come at me,
You're just
bro.
a real firecracker
Let's
today.
take it up. Cash me outside. All right, cash me
Oh
outside.
my goodness.
Right, you guys.
I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day out. The sun is out, and let's wrap it up.
Not
And
here.
first of all,
Goddamn. I live inside a rain cloud, babe.
first of
I ain't
all,
seen the sun in a week.
to everyone who's listening, thank you so much for giving us your time. We hope that we were able to help you. If you have your own question that you're like, I really want to hear what you two got to say, email us at girldickwithted@gmail.com. If you want to give us 0 stars, but that's not, email us and let us know why you want to give us 0 stars. If you want to give us 5 stars, email us and let us know why you give us 5 stars, but then also give us 5 stars. Let us know. I mean, I really do want to hear from people and not just people who wonder where Ted Cruz is because we don't know. And be safe out there and live your life and it really, I mentioned this earlier in the episode, it really does blow my mind when I see people who are just like, I know who I am and I'm coming out, no matter, even with what's going on in this world and in this country specifically. Like you have to make that effort to be your best self and to live your life. And I'm so happy that you are. And we're all in this together. And let's do it. We love you both. We love you all. I said we love you both like we have 2 listeners, but we love you all. There's 2.
There's more now. There's a handful more. We got a little bump. We got a little bump.
A little handful, huh?
Nice. I think it was Mrs. Baxter's 1-star review.
Yeah, they're like, let's really 0 stars.
1 star, you say? Well, before there were no stars, but now there's 1. That's infinitely better.
Yeah, that is. That's one better.
Way better than 0 stars.
Yeah.
Like 1 star's like it can't be measured because it can't measure 0, but like
Thanks, Mrs. Baxter.
That's a lot. Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Baxter.
Yeah. Well,
this one's for you.
We love all of you. We want nothing but the best for you. feel free to reach out. Email us, girldickwithted@gmail.com. I'm Melissa Zarling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Best of luck, and we love you.
Bye-bye.